Welcome to the weekly D&C Real Estate Show. I'm C.
I'm D.
And today we're going to talk about the home inspection versus the home appraisal process. David, tell us a little bit about the home inspection.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the difference between the two first.
Okay.
The main difference between the two, the appraisal deals with the value of the home, and the inspection deals with the condition of the home.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's the two. And why people get confused on that, because both the inspector and the appraisal person, typically they check everything in the house to make sure that everything is functioning in the house.
Okay.
So that's typically the difference between those two, and why people get sometimes confused. And also appraisal person actually check the square footage of the home and measure the square footage of the home. Okay. All right. So, but an inspection is typically happens within the first 5. I try to have it happen between the first 5 days because, you know, if all possible, I try to get the first 2 or 3 days. Why? Because I wanted to get the inspection over with and then go to the audit appraisal.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. And inspection typically costs between, I want to say, $300 to $500, depends on what you get. You know, you might want a radon test. You might also want sewer checked out also too during the inspection. But typically what the inspector does, he checks everything in your home. I mean, everything, your windows, your roof, your foundation to see if you got foundation issues. You check your plumbing, see if you have any leaks. I mean, even check all your appliances to make sure everything is functioning, okay? So when you get in the house, you want to check and see if everything is functioning, right? Correct?
Absolutely. And if there's something wrong, you have a chance to go in and renegotiate the price, right?
Absolutely.
We like that.
Yeah, and pretty much you want to see if you really want the house. It might have so many issues that like, man, I can't live here. It got too many issues. But then it might be something that just, you know, you really, as a realtor, I try to tell you, say, hey, let's focus on the safety and health issues. But if you as a buyer say, I want to go a little bit deeper, you know, you can discuss that. Okay?
Sure, that makes sense.
So main thing is we want to find out the integrity of the home to make sure that this is something I really want to buy and something I want to move forward with, knowing the condition of the home. Also, too, you know, especially all the minor stuff, you can deal with that later and fix all that stuff later, especially if it's not a brand new home, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So inspection is done. Now we need to go where? To the appraisal. So tell me a little bit about the appraisal.
So now, once the inspection is completed, you've kind of figured out where you're at as far as what repairs or whatever needs to be done on the property. The appraisal part is going to establish the value of the property. And what the appraiser is going to do is he's going to come out and he's going to measure the property, get the square footage, but he's also going to take some pictures of the property, the attic, the living room, all the bedrooms, and he's going to compare your property that you just purchased to a minimum of 3 comparable sales that have happened in the neighborhood to establish the value of the property. So he's going to look at properties that have sold within a 1-mile radius within the last 6 months of your subject property. So to give you, for instance, if you're buying a ranch property, they want to have the comparable sales be of a ranch. If you're buying a 2-story property, they want to have those comparable sales be of a 2-story property. Where they're going to make the adjustments in regards to value is, for instance, if the property that you're buying has hardwood floors and the comparable sale that they're comparing it to has, say, linoleum, they're going to make a little bit of an adjustment to value. If your property has 3 bedrooms and the comparable sale has 2 bedrooms, they're going to make a little bit of an adjustment. So as David mentioned earlier, sometimes people get a little bit confused because the appraiser is also going to point out some conditional challenges, if there are any, in regards to the property, especially an FHA appraiser. He is going to look at if there's torn screens, if there's holes in the walls, exposed electrical, anything that FHA will have an issue financing. Then that FHA appraiser is going to take a picture of it and ask you to have that repaired or corrected before you go to the closing.
But guess what? We usually catch that on the inspection, and we get that either typically, especially if it's FHA, we can resolve that during the inspection period on the contract. So typically it won't even get to the appraiser person if you got a good realtor. Okay, go ahead.
That's a good point. And a lot of times the Everyone's not as good as David, and they miss that, and the appraiser will point that out and then do what's called a subject to appraisal, which means that those things have to be corrected before we get to the closing. So if you have any questions about the difference between the inspection and the appraisal, be sure to reach out to us.
Absolutely.
David, tell everybody how to get a hold of you.
David Babineau from Caldwell Banker Residential Brokerage. Phone number is 303-903-0395. You can catch me on social media at The Real Estate Man 24/7.
Like that. All right, I'm Calvin Mallard. I'm with Fairway Independent Mortgage. You can always reach me direct at 720-364-9726. Check me out online where you can apply online at loansbycalvin.com, and also look for me on Facebook at Loans by Calvin. And if you haven't got out and voted yet, get out and vote today. Today's the day.
Absolutely.
Everybody have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day, everyone.